By the time we hit the 2026 economic landscape here in the UK, supplementing your income from home has shifted from a luxury into a strict baseline necessity just to cover the rising cost of living. But entering the remote workspace today means wading into a highly saturated market. You are competing directly against a massive influx of AI automation tools and cut-rate offshore freelancers bidding for the exact same contracts. This makes the standard advice you see from online influencers actively dangerous. They usually pitch a single guaranteed side hustle while completely ignoring what your actual day-to-day life looks like. If you pick a method that requires 10 hours a week when you only have 2, or one that requires ad spend when your bank account is empty, you will hit burnout fast. You'll waste your starting capital, or find yourself earning well below minimum wage. Long-term remote revenue depends entirely on selecting the specific hustle that survives your personal lifestyle constraints. Look at this scorecard. It tracks the 3 required resources for any remote work: available time, upfront capital, and your current digital skills. Every path requires a combination of these. No single method allows you to maximize all 3 at once. Choosing a revenue stream forces you to sacrifice at least one of these constraints. For example, if you have 40 hours a week but 0 capital, you are locked out of paid acquisition models and restricted to entirely different digital markets than someone with a large budget and no free time. Instead of relying on generic claims, we'll use the 2026 Home Earnings Guide to map specific strategies directly to your current lifestyle constraints. Accurately auditing what you lack right now is the most effective firewall against failing at an online business. The first option is Path 1, service-based hustles. This includes microtasking, virtual assistants, and freelancing on platforms like Fiverr or Upwork. Service work demands massive active hours, but exactly 0 upfront cash. The upside is immediate, generating your first £500 quickly. But the trade-off is a hard limit. Earnings are strictly capped by your waking hours. Stop typing, stop earning. Because the barrier to entry is so low, you are exposed to a global pricing competition, constantly fighting against cheaper proposals from around the world. Exchanging your time for money is a necessary starting point if you are entirely out of cash, but it operates as a trap if you stay too long. Path 1 provides vital immediate financial relief, but the structure of the work actively prevents you from scaling your wealth over the long term. Next is Path 2, digital products. This covers creating digital templates, downloadable guides, or setting up e-commerce stores. This path requires 50 to 100 hours of uncompensated upfront labor and baseline SEO skills before any sale. The ideal outcome decouples time from earnings, achieving infinite scale while you sleep. But the hidden trade-off is a high risk of a completely zero return outcome. That zero return scenario usually happens because of simple missteps: poor initial market research, a lack of distribution, or a sudden shift in a search algorithm that buries your product. Building an asset in a vacuum carries a heavy emotional toll. Unlike Path 1, where you complete a task and get paid immediately, Path 2 requires you to endure silence for months. This path rewards delayed gratification. It belongs to those who can afford to work for free in the short term to capture exponential gains later. Finally, we have Path 3, niche consulting and B2B services. This route strictly leverages advanced, pre-existing professional expertise. Inputs are steep: advanced skills like financial modeling, plus actively cold pitching UK businesses. This yields the highest possible hourly rate, potentially replacing a corporate income. But trade-offs are brutal: constant client rejection and ghosting, requiring immense emotional resilience. The reality of your first 6 months on Path 3 involves highly inconsistent cash flow and spending massive amounts of non-billable time purely on client acquisition. Path 3 offers the absolute highest ceiling for professional freedom, but it exacts a heavy toll in upfront psychological resilience and unpaid sales effort. Now, let's take these abstract methods and map them directly to the real-world constraints of your actual life. The overarching rule is that remote revenue is never free. It must be purchased with your time, your cash, or your specialized expertise. This flowchart maps out the scenarios. If you are a time-poor optimizer, working 50 hours a week but holding some spare capital, you should strictly avoid service-based hustles. You simply don't have the hours to compete. Instead, use capital to offset lack of time. Invest in paid ads or outsource digital product creation, placing you in Path 2. If you're a cash-poor, time-rich, budget-conscious hustler, You must accept Path 1's initial grind to build your capital base. But here is the crucial caveat. You must strictly ring-fence 10. They aren't wasted time. They're direct investments into building a high-value solo enterprise. You must pick your compromise based on these constraints and brutally ignore the noise of competing opportunities. Commit to a 90-day minimum rule. Constantly jumping from dropshipping to freelancing to consulting resets your progress and your learning curve back to zero every single time. Remote revenue functions as a strict economic trade-off that requires consistent management and mastery over time.